Hi you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Karen Odd and these are Karen's Oddities. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Regardless, I do want to ask that you give this video a thumbs up, comment your thoughts below, even if you disagree with my content. And I also want to ask that you share this video with one person that you know, as I'm confident there is something here that both you and they can benefit from. So I have my notes handy here. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about fear. And I'll give you guys a short story of what prompted me to want to talk about this topic. So how far back do I go? Okay, so a couple of months ago, probably in the summertime, my dog killed a rat, a big fat rat. The rat was like 6 inches long and the tail was like 4 inches. It was like 10 inches long, tail to head. And thankfully he didn't eat it. He has a very high prey drive and he will kill birds, rabbits, bunnies, rats, mice. He tries to catch squirrels, but squirrels seem to be really fast. I know that bunnies are too, and so are rats, but somehow he just can't get the squirrels. But he can get the other animals, and I'm sure at some point he probably will catch a squirrel. Thankfully, like I said, he doesn't eat the rats. He just kills it and leaves it. So clearly there are a lot of critters in my neighborhood. I've seen opossums before. I've seen on the ring light someone talked about a skunk. They've talked about coyotes. So there's just like a lot of critters. So one day I got home and it was really late. I think it was like maybe 2, maybe 3 a.m. And I have an electric vehicle. So my charger for my electric vehicle is mounted to the back of my home. And then I have to plug it in. Like I pull in my driveway and then like on the corner of the home is like here. So then I have to like grab the charger and plug in my car. So this time I pulled in and I was scared. I was scared to get out of my car. 1, because it was late, and 2, because I knew that there had been a rat that was recently caught. Clearly, I know there are critters around here. And I'm like, I don't want to encounter the rat. Like, I'm scared. There was like piles of leaves, because I think it might have been fall or something. And I'm like, I don't want to encounter the rat. I don't want like the rat to like run near my feet or run near me. And I kept just like going over it and over and over. I wasn't leaving the car. I'm sitting there, car's turned on. And at this point, like I said, it's already late. I have to put my car to charge. I more than likely had to go to work the next day because it was probably a weekend, like a Sunday or something. And then something came over me where I'm just like, I snapped out of it and I'm like, okay, like you can't be afraid of the spaces you're going to walk into. Like you can't be afraid of whether or not there's a rat in this or not. Like you need to take action. Like you need to move. Cause it's like, I found myself like sitting there and like time was passing. And I'm like, no, like you can't let the fear be what keeps you there. Cause girl, you need to get out of your car. You need to put it to charge and you need to go to sleep because you have things to do tomorrow. So like sometimes like we have to snap ourselves out of it. And I know it's easier said than done, but sometimes you really have to snap yourself out of whatever that thing is that's like holding you back, whatever that thing is that you were afraid of. So another, like a couple of other examples, clearly that's like the specific example that made me want to talk about this subject. But I mentioned to you guys, and I think I mentioned in my last video, every time a new year comes around, I'm anxious. Like New Year's Eve, there have been several New Year's Eves where it's like once 12 a.m. hits, like I'm crying somewhere. And I think the crying is partly related to the fact that like New Year's are very emotional. It's an emotional holiday for me. It's like mourning whatever happened in the last year, mourning the things that happened to me, the things that didn't happen to me, the things I wished and wanted, the people that I know are not going to come into the new year with me. But it's also like this sense of like anxiety and fear of not knowing what the new year is going to bring me. I don't know if it's going to be better or worse than the last. I don't know if I don't know what's going to happen to me. I don't know what's going to happen to my family. It's just the uncertainty that always like gives me some type of anxiety and I end up crying somewhere. Thankfully this year, I mean, I did cry on New Year's Day, but that was for different reasons. But I didn't cry on New Year's Eve. I was sick. I brought it in at home. I can't remember the last time I brought the New Year in at home, but I'm also like, you know what? I don't have to go out every New Year's to enjoy my time, but that's a different conversation. Fear can also come into play when we think about like our careers and or our employment. when we think about like professional endeavors that we want to take on, whether that's getting a certificate or getting some type of degree or going to some type of trade school. Maybe you are afraid of like applying to a new job or like changing your career field because you're not sure if like you're going to like it. You're not sure if like they're going to accept you. You're not sure if you're qualified, if you have enough experience. You're afraid of like enrolling in this program because again, you don't know if like you have enough experience. You don't know if like it's going to be too challenging and rigorous for you. And it can happen there, right? And this happens, you see it when it's like, and this is not always the case, right? But for a lot of times it is the case. There are people that become so comfortable in their situation that nothing ever changes, right? Those are some of the people that it's like they apply to something that wasn't even part of their passion. It's just like a job that they got into and they stay there their entire lives. I also think like the older generations, like the boomers, like that's their style, right? You get a job, you stay there, you retire from there. But I feel like, well, I'm a millennial, my generation, we're looking for progress most of the time. We're looking for change. We're looking for ongoing happiness. We're looking for growth in our jobs. And when we find that, we will stay. But when that is no longer an option, I find that we often are looking for other opportunities. I think this can also happen when it comes to relationships and friendships. If you have either had a friendship or a relationship where someone has done you dirty, they betrayed you, they lied to you, they lied about you, they said something extremely hurtful to you, or they intentionally did something to hurt you, yeah, that can scar you. And as a result of that, it can make you not want to seek new friendships, not be open. It can cause you to be more guarded in your interactions. It can cause you to self-sabotage your connections. And I do that. I have a bad habit of doing that, right? Like, I feel like I've been fucked over so many different ways that I don't trust people. So like in a lot of times I find myself self-sabotaging where like I'm so closed off, I'm so guarded, and like people want me to open up and get to know me. But in my mind, I'm like, I want to wait until I know it's safe. But the truth is you never know it's safe. You never know it's safe. I mean, there are people that have dated for 20 years and then their partner does something completely out of character. Like as people, I don't think we're ever just one way. We're always changing, right? There's like core things that don't change about us, but for the most part, like we're always changing. Situations and scenarios change us. Yes, there's like the core of who we are based on like how we were brought up, like our childhood, like those things that like really make you who you are, what you value. But as you go through life, like those things evolve and change. And sometimes there's a disconnect. So you see like dissolutions of like marriages that have been going for like 30 years. Like it can happen. Like nothing is out of the realm of possibility. I also see this a lot when it comes to travel. And I'm going to judge because I think it's kind of sad. But I understand like, and sometimes there's limitations that are beyond like what that person's control is. But there are people that it's like, they will never know anything outside of the town, city, or like neighborhood that they live in. There are people that will never experience any other city, any other state, any other country. And I know not everyone can just like pick up and travel, but I think that it's very limiting, right? There are people that will intentionally not do it because they're one, afraid of traveling, which that goes into like fears and phobias, which is not the type of fears we're talking about today. But there are people that may be afraid of traveling. There are people that may be afraid of like being around other cultures, trying different foods, being away from home, like time change or learning how to navigate a different transportation system. And it's so limiting, right? Because it's like, just because you don't know it doesn't mean you can't figure it out. Just because you haven't experienced it doesn't mean you won't catch on quickly or you won't find patterns that can help you navigate it and figure it out. We can't let the things that we don't know and the things that we're unsure of keep us stuck and keep us like in a bubble. I think it's really a restrictive form of thinking. I think it's restrictive to our growth, to our development as people. And I think it can be sad when we do that to ourselves because life is so freaking short. And I think we should explore the options that we have. And I think we should do things that fill us with joy because life is short and there's already so many sad, tragic things that happen. So like why restrict yourself from happiness and joy? Why do that to yourself, right? Fear of motherhood, right? Some people will avoid it altogether, but some people will avoid it altogether because of the uncertainty of what comes with that. And some people develop like these complexes when they are pregnant already, right? And it's like this obsession over like not making any mistakes and like being the best parent that you can be, which is natural, right? Fear is a natural thing and it's going to happen. Other life changes, home ownership, moving to a different place, right? You think about all those different things that like can really strike some big fears in you. I'm not saying that having fears should like go away entirely or that you should minimize having fears. I'm saying that when you notice that that's in play, you need to assess whether or not it's keeping you stuck. You need to assess whether or not it's crippling you. You need to assess whether or not it's hindering you, right? Like and I'll go back to the job. Like there are times where it's like, I want to take a job, but I'm not sure. And like, there are times when I've taken the jump and I take a job for more money and I'm miserable. And then there are times where it's like, I'm still not sure. I take a job, but like, I love it. Like, you're never going to know. You're never, ever going to know. Yes, of course you can prepare as best as you can, right? You can do your research. You can, go to therapy, you can read best practices, you can read books, you can watch videos, you can have conversations with people that could give you a different perspective, you can meditate, you can pray, you can think about it, you can practice. There are all these things that we can do in any of these scenarios, not even these. This is just a summary of like potential scenarios, right? Where people can be stuck. But sometimes even when you do that preparation, your experience can be entirely different from everything you've ever read. It can be entirely different from what your friend said, from what your mentor said, from what that podcast said, from what that video said. I believe that there are common fears that come up for people, but separate from that, I believe that a lot of the things that we fear are very specific and unique to us, right? For example, my fears in a friendship are probably, maybe there could be some similarities, but I'm sure I also have very different things from you that's watching this video of what you fear in a friendship. Maybe someone watching this had a friend sleep with their boyfriend. I've never had that experience that I know of, at least. So it's like, that's not a fear for me. While I know it's something that can happen, my brain has not saved the memory of that to like say, hey, look out for signs of this. I think this goes into like the psych part of which is why I find psychology extremely fascinating. The brain is like such an amazing organ. And yeah, the fact that like our brains are generating all these memories all the time. We have some that we have from childhood. We have some that we've blocked out because of trauma. We have some that are irrelevant, but for whatever reason, our brain said, I'm picking that one. I'm going to store this. I'm going to store this. We're going to toss this. It keeps them. And anytime we are in a similar scenario, our brains are so quick at processing and recognizing patterns. And when we're in those scenarios, that memory or that thing that our brains decided to store is triggered, right? And it brings it up again and it says, hey, I know you want to do XYZ, but just keep in mind the last time you did XYZ, this happened. Or, hey, please stop, buddy, that's my coffee. The last time you did this, I noticed that this happened. So you may want to look out for XYZ. And that's fine. Like, I think it's a fascinating thing that the brain does this for us because it helps keep us safe, right? It's doing it for safety. And I do this because while it is safety for many of us, including myself, our memories and trauma cripple us. Our memories and trauma keep us from making progress because the fear of the hurt, the fear of the disappointment is so great that we'll never cross this line. We'll always stand right here. We'll get close to it, but we never go over because we're so afraid of repeating that, right? And it's a scary thing. It's a powerful and impactful thing, the way the brain uses memories to keep us safe. It's an amazing thing. But it's also super scary because there are these blockages that we have in our minds that could potentially keep us from completely different potential. It could keep you from that job that you really want. It could keep you from that degree that you've really been wanting to go to. It could keep you from going back to college, even though you think you're going to be the oldest person there. It could keep you from ever dating. It could keep you from ever having intimacy. It could keep you from ever making friends. It could keep you from ever talking to someone in public on your own because you're afraid of rejection. It could keep you from ever traveling somewhere. It could keep you from ever becoming a parent, or maybe you have a fear of being around children because at some point, like when you were young, you witnessed like a child fall and they died or something. I have an ex-boyfriend. When he was living overseas, because he lived in Yemen, he saw his friend get hit by a car and die in front of his eyes when he was a kid. Like, that is trauma that it's like, it scars you forever. Like, there are complexes that are built off of that because your brain is saying, when this happened, this was so tragic and hurtful. And the brain said, you know, and I'm explaining this, I'm not a neuroscientist, neuropsychologist, none of that. But it's like the brain says, hey, you know, when this thing happened to you, we notice patterns of like decline in your, or like increased heart rate. We notice patterns of decline in your health, in your immune system. And this lasted for X period of time. So now we're going to store this memory because we want to make sure that like you never have to experience this again. And whatever cues or signs that you remember from that time, you can use that to protect yourself in the future. A fascinating thing. But while our brains are in control, we also have to remind ourselves to rewire our thoughts, right? Like, do some rewiring of that, because the brain is just, it's a tool, it's a muscle, it's an organ, it's doing what it knows to do, but it's doing the best it can. And trust me, it does an amazing job. What do they say? We use like, I think 10% of our brain. Maybe it's changed now. I don't know. But while it's doing the best it can, you also have the ability to like rewire those patterns that it already created for you, the ones that are keeping you stuck. So like when we talk about like self-sabotaging jobs, or self-sabotaging relationships or connections, or keeping yourself from like deciding to move out of your parents' home or deciding to move out of state, those thoughts that you have that are like, hey, yeah, don't text her because she probably doesn't like you, or don't go up to her because she's probably, yeah, she's gonna reject you. She's gonna say, oh, look at this person approaching me, or I'm not gonna apply to that job because, you know, it's asking for like 5 years of experience and I only have 3, even though I have my degree. Like, I'm just not gonna submit it. I'm not gonna submit it because I don't want to get the rejection. All of these things that we tell ourselves, that's the rewiring that we have to do. That's the stuff that we have to fix. That's the stuff that we have to clean up. Especially if you're someone that is stuck. You feel stuck. You maybe feel stuck in every aspect of your life, or you feel stuck in different aspects of your life. That is a type of rewiring that you need to start working on and that you need to do. And mind you, my brain has a lot of rewiring that I need to do. I'm trying to do some on my own. I'm in therapy. I have been since May. I'm trying to get a new therapist. But like, my brain is trying to rewire itself as we speak. Like, I try to remind myself, you know, like if I have like a negative thought about myself, then I try to stop it. And then I say, no, like I will have an internal conversation with myself. But if I'm home alone, I'll talk to myself. I'll be like, no, Karen, stop that. Like, no, that's not true. XYZ is true. And stop saying that about yourself, right? You have to start rewiring your brain. Because that's the only way that it's going to undo some of those blockages. It's going to undo some of that crippling. It's going to undo that feeling of you feeling stuck. Because what's on the other side of that line, like, even if that experience told you this is a possibility, the possibilities on the other side of whatever the thing that you're not doing, they're like a bajillion combinations of what could go wrong. There are a bajillion. You can't even think of all the scenarios of what could happen. I'm sitting here, I can give you 100 scenarios just sitting here, and beyond those 100, there's like infinity numbers of things that could happen. This phone could just jump and hit me. My dog could just come and punch me in the eye. The ceiling could fall in. Someone could drive through my window. I could just keep going on. There's so much that could happen. There's so much that could happen. Yes. Can we spend time thinking about the scenarios and trying to prepare for everything? You can try, but it's not realistic because you're never going to know unless you do it. That's what this comes down. You're never going to know unless you do it. So like when I didn't want to get out of the car, fuck it. If a rat comes and runs over my foot, I'm going to fucking yell and I'm going to kick the shit out of the rat. But then that's that, right? Like I'm not going to know until I get out of the car, and I can't sit in the car. I can't sit in the car for hours. I have to go inside. I have to charge the car. I have to go to sleep. I have to go to work the next day. So it's like, you can stay in that job. You can stay in that relationship. You can possibly never date. You can possibly never travel. You can maybe never learn how to drive. You can maybe not do XYZ because you're afraid of it. You could. You can if you want to. Or you can get out of the car. It's a metaphor. Like I had to get out of the car to put it to get out of the car. You can get out of the car. You can get out of the car. And you can just see what happens. You can just see what happens. The key to this is moving. Despite whatever's going on. Moving. Despite what you're afraid of. Moving. Despite what you read could happen. Despite what you were warned about. I'm not saying moving carelessly. Move cautiously. Do your research. But the key is to keep moving. That's the key. You have to keep moving. You have to keep moving. You're afraid, you have to keep moving. You have to keep moving. Give yourself rest and take a break when you need to, but you have to keep moving. Life is so freaking short. It's extremely freaking short. I'm just looking through my notes, making sure I captured everything. Yeah. I'm gonna enjoy watching this video back, especially because like I got broken up with yesterday by someone that I really, really liked. And the breakup came out of nowhere. No context, no closure. But guess what? I mean, we can't force people to give us something that they can't give us. We can't force people to talk to us. We can't force answers out of people. So what do I have to do? I have to keep moving. I have to keep moving. I've had scenarios, and this wasn't like I wasn't in a relationship with this person. It was just like we were dating for a couple of months and I really, really liked him. But I've been in scenarios where breakups have crippled the fuck out of me right after. And then it crippled me from like wanting to seriously date again. But you can't do that. I know it's easier said than done. I know it's easier said than done. But all I'm asking is if there are areas in your life where you're stuck, ask yourself why you're stuck and start rewiring your brain. And then when you are stuck, just remind yourself that you have to keep moving. So I think I'm going to leave it here because I covered all the things that I wanted to, and I feel really good about what we talked about in this video. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Thank you so much.